Hello, my friends. Wow. Right in front of my face every time. Love that. Welcome to Flow with Jess. We are back. I have been leaving my house and therefore finding time and space to record using the sanctity of this vehicle. Feels really good. Feels really, really good. So let me know what you think of the change in location. This is probably set number like 6 or 7 for us here on this channel. Will we find some consistency down the road? Who knows? It might just literally be a question mark the entire time we do this. I am so excited. First thing, I straightened my hair today. Interesting. I haven't done this in a really long time, and I've been noticing now that I have been in the car and the video is flipped so that I can see myself, I like catch myself just like playing with my hair. Same with going to work. I've been doing my hair, I've been putting on a little bit of makeup, and I like catch myself like playing in the mirror. And I've said this before on this channel where I have this fear of people thinking that I'm doing things out of vanity, and I don't know why that's a fear. It's like really bizarre to me, but I just like I have this feeling like I don't want to be perceived as somebody that does things in for seeking like vanity or validation on like looks. And like I guess that's my own thing that I have to work through. I even like I find a really big challenge in accepting compliments. I had a gentleman, and I ran out of my shampoo and conditioner, so I just went and I got some new stuff, and this gentleman was like, "I love your natural hair color." And I was like, "Oh, well, like it's not natural because like there's bleach in it, and I'm not as orange as I used to be." And I got in the car and I was like, "Why don't you just say thank you? I love being a redhead," because I do. But it's hard to accept a compliment. Just like when somebody says like, "You're so pretty, you look so good," you're like, "Oh my god, but like look at the bags under my eyes, and you know my one eye is like super droopy." And it's, you only see you only see kind of the things that stand out to you. And there's this balance between like wanting to look good, feel good, but also you don't want to spend so much time and energy on the external world that there's this perception of vanity. But like I also think that I am beautiful, and I like hearing that I'm beautiful, and I think that it's more than just a skin thing. I think it's like a soul level thing that I'm I don't want to use the word trying to achieve, but trying to embody is just this like natural beauty that shows that there's like care and nurturing and love and support to go into like the whole entire body, internal and external. But sometimes, do you know what my husband said to me the other day? He was like, "Dude, like sometimes you look so strung out." And I'm like, "Oh, that's not nice." But then I realized that like sometimes it happens, when you just like you wake up and you didn't have a good sleep, and you haven't washed your hair in 5 days, like you haven't put a comb through it, and you have a headache, and like life just feels like it's throwing you down a set of stairs, and you look in the mirror and you're like, whoa. It's hard to let your, there's only so much that like internal beauty can do, right? There is a level of like, you need to put a brush through your hair sometimes. It feels really, really good to put coconut oil on your skin and use a spoon and just like basically gua sha your face. It brings so much color to the skin, and then like it helps just like smooth your lines, and can be a really beautiful self-care practice that is like nourishing and like supports lymphatic drainage and all of these other things, while also being this external practice, essentially, if that makes sense. Who knows? That's my spiel. So anyways, I went on this channel today and I realized that we have hit 800 subscribers, and it feels really cool. Like really, really cool. Like so close to 1,000. And like, not that that's the goal. Like, I'm doing this for self-expression and using it as a, you know, a video diary and journal, and also just a way to connect with people, which I've been, you know, trying to respond to comments again, and it feels really nice to be reconnecting with, you know, the people, you lovely people who are connecting and watching this video. So I just want to say thank you so much for being here, and I'm really honored that you choose to spend your time listening to what comes out of my mouth, and you know, you are choosing to be in my energetic frequency. And I've said this before because I do believe this to be true, where sometimes I show up and like I'm not in the best energetic state, and I get worried about putting that out there, because the last thing I want is for someone to feel like, oh, like I don't want that energy to come across the screen and shift anyone's world in a negative way. Like, I want this to be a very positive experience, but we all know what it's like to have a kind of weird day, you know? Or sometimes things just like downright suck. Sometimes it's like, damn, like we're going through something right now and we're processing, and it's a lot, and it's all of the affirmations in the world are not shifting, are just not shifting this energy. Like, it's just gonna take time, but we still have to show up, you know? I'm sure everyone's heard this. I've worked a lot in customer service and hospitality, and you know, this is a very common thing that employers will say to employees, but I'm sure it's the same in most industries. But when you are customer and client facing, you know, they always say, doesn't matter what you're going through at home, doesn't matter if you've had a bad day or a fight with your boyfriend, it doesn't matter if da-da-da-da-da, you get to work and you put on your costume and you walk on stage and you become a different person. And this new job, they said that. And at first I was like, oh yeah, I know where they're going with this. Yeah, I agree, right? There is this element of like, you have a job to do, and it is your job to support clients, support customers, and to give them a really good experience. But this was the first time in my life where I had to pause, and I was like, okay, well, that's the narrative, but like, that's not the reality. And you can tell when somebody's like pushing through pain, you know, you can tell. And not that it's your job to like spill your guts to everyone that you come in contact with. There is an energy of like protecting yourself and others, right? Being cautious about what you put out into the world. But I think it's fair to not lie and put on such a mask, you know? I think it's probably okay if you are just simply, if you're going through it and you're not as smiley, you're not as happy, and like if someone's like, are you okay? I think it's fair to be like, thanks so much for noticing. I'm so glad you're here and I want you to have a really great time, but you know what? I am going through the feels right now. And thank you so much for showing concern, because what that type of narrative does is it teaches people to hide their emotions and to like shame them, to be like, well, you're at work, so you have to be like this. And I just don't think that that's a great way to do it, because in the grand scheme of things, right? Like, as a society, we tend to devalue people's emotions as it is. And so people hide those emotions, and then they get repressed. And then people go through outbursts, and they have to go through healing and go through all of this therapy because they've had all of these emotions that have been repressed for so long. And that's not safe for anyone, you know? I think being authentic is about being able to still show up as you and to still be willing to show that, you know, you're going through it, but like, you are here, you know, you are in this world, you are at this job, you are doing what you have to do out in the external world, even though internally you are going through a lot of things. But I think it's a really great way to like outsource for support, because, correct me, I mean, I've had this experience so many times, you know, when you're just like, and I would say not, I mean, probably as well, sorry, I'm gonna pause myself there. What I was gonna say was probably not when you're like really, really, really in the feels, but also potentially, right? Laughter is such a good medicine, and love is such a medicine. But like, you know, when you're kind of having a crappy day and you're like, I don't want to go do this, I don't want to do that, but then you go do that thing, and it's not distracting, but it's just connecting with the fact that there's more going on in your life than just like that one thing that you're so focused on in that moment that's causing you like distress, by kind of surrounding yourself with a different environment, different people, different energy. Like, you get a laugh in and you're like, oh yeah, okay, right. There's still joy, there's still love, there's still laughter, there's still a lot of really beautiful things going on, even though I'm navigating this. But it helps kind of lessen that burden. Because let's be honest, sitting and stewing in your own little cave, I love doing that. That's like my natural, it's my natural place. Just deep in the feels, alone, closing the door on the world, shutting off everything and just being in it. It's my jam. It's my bread and butter. But it feels really good when you leave that and you get a laugh in, or like you find a slice of joy and you're like, oh yeah, that's the secret sauce, that's the good stuff, that's what I want in my life. I'm home right now. I'm gonna go inside and hang out with the boys and Sadie and have a little something to eat, and then I'm heading back out. My studio is having a community night, and so we've been doing this free community night. This is the second month now. Something that we've tried to do for like 3 years, and it just like didn't fly in the beginning, but now that the studio is busier, we had 18 people. We had 8, that's what we capped it at. That's the max we could do, because it's like a workout based community night. We had 18 people last month, and we have 18 people tonight. And last month our focus was on like diaphragmatic core breathing, because we noticed that a lot of people have a really hard time connecting with their core muscles and the whole system, essentially. So we did this really great workshop, and then it turned into an actual workout where we took all of that new information and put it into practice, and we had really great feedback about it being super supportive. So this month we are doing, oh, my favorite thing, I love teaching the hip hinge. So the hip hinge is one of those movement patterns that, like, it's the hardest one to learn. It's like the most not natural thing to most people, and there's a lot of things that go on in the body that make it so, like, really, really challenging. And so we decided to do the hip hinge. So I'm gonna go inside, and I'm just gonna go over my notes of what I'm gonna be saying and the movements that I'm going to be doing to prep our people before we come in. And yeah, so that's what I'm up to for the rest of the day. And yeah, what are you up to? the rest of the day. What's the world like around you? Are you in spring right now? Do you have lots of birds and blooming trees around you? What's happening in your world? Let me know. Okay. Once again, right in front of the face. Dang. I gotta like go a different way. Okay, I'll see you later. Bye.